So I would first like to start by thanking you for inviting me to address the Learning Planet Festival and to address all of you. I think that this festival could not be organized at a better time. At a time when we're realizing that in many parts of the world, unfortunately, ignorance and arrogance are creating a Molotov cocktail. A cocktail which is really downgrading the importance of knowledge and the importance of the transfer of deep knowledge and deep understanding of the complexity of the world in which we live in. At the Club of Rome, clearly for the last 50 years, we've been in particular talking about the complexity of the world and the interconnectedness between people, planet, and prosperity, and the need to address this from a systems perspective. What we're realizing in today's complex world is the total deterioration of that systems perspective, the deterioration and the inequity between people, planet, and prosperity. The fact that those are not parts of a whole, but actually completely separate, and getting involved in very deep paradigm shifts and power pandemics as we see them spreading across the globe today. What we've tried at the Club of Rome recently is to see how we can translate some of our knowledge, our deep knowledge and understanding of people, planet, and prosperity into impact, into action through our impact hubs. And we've tried to do this also by engaging in an intergenerational dialogue, because we absolutely know that if we are going to be good ancestors, if we are going to be offering a planet which is for people and other species and does not focus just on anthropocentrism, but actually on the equal value of all species on Earth, then the only way to move forward is to ensure that those three principles are embedded across our educational system, across the way in which we transfer knowledge through communities, and the way in which we transfer knowledge within our own families and between generations. And I think I'm very proud to say that some of our impact hubs have already started to have a real fundamental shift in thinking. Our Planetary Emergency partnership and the way in which we've looked at the planetary emergency, bringing in the convergence of tipping points between climate change, biodiversity loss, and now obviously the health pandemic, has very much brought together key actors across the globe to see how we can optimize not only our knowledge, but also the way in which we work together and we co-design the planet that we want to see. The key missing link within that discussion, however, that must be part of the way in which we move forward in this decade of action as we start 2021, has to be around how do we systematize the learnings that we have, the science that we have, the indigenous knowledge that we have through different knowledge centers, whether it be through our educational system or whether it be through community centers, whether it be through the way in which we bring together through new governance models, citizens, so that they can actually be part of the way in which we develop and design the future planet and the future humanity that we want to see. The breakdown that we have seen in the United States of the governance system, but in particular of a people who have decided to take control into their own hands through their own individual desire, rather than trying to work through a collective system of change, has been absolutely disastrous. And because it has moved away from a very deep value system of understanding that we are all as important as each other, not just human beings, but as species. So as you engage on this very important festival, and as you start to speak to each other, I would urge you to go beyond just a narrative, to go beyond just learning is important, to really understand how we can specifically unpack the different institutions that we have, that are knowledge institutions, the different ways in which we can learn, and how we use this decade of action as a decade of learning and applying, to shift from just knowledge as being intellectual or being within our own brains into knowledge as being embedded in the way in which we look at our hearts and our souls as we engage with each other and as we engage with this complex world around us. Because we know that the only way in which we will survive through the Anthropocene is if we start to truly integrate people, planet, and prosperity into all of our systems thinking, into the way in which we design policy frameworks that we have, as well as we design our future leaders. And I'll close with this very important point. We know through the Club of Rome and our youth summit that we recently had in October, that the youth are feeling increasingly disenfranchised. They feel that they are the voice of the future, and yet they are not given the possibility to truly understand and react within this complex world through the right tools that we are offering them, through our educational systems, through our knowledge exchange, a real unpacking of what does this mean in practice, and how can they become real actors and leaders of the future. So I wish you all the best in this incredible endeavor, and very much hope that the Club of Rome can continue to work with many of you to ensure that this truly is a decade of action, and translating our knowledge and our understanding of the complexities at hand into tools and solutions so that the future that we have will make us proud for many, many centuries to come. Thank you.